What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Teamfight Spotlight, brought to you by Tempo Storm. My name is Canadian, and today we are looking at how the Gladiators were able to upset the Spitfire in an amazing OWL match from the third week of Stage 2. So, let's get right into it. The LA Gladiators are running a very spam-heavy composition with Pharah and Junkrat. Because the Spitfire don't have any big shields, they have free reign to just spam damage their direction, hoping to get an easy kill. Now, if they do manage to get a kill, they will have to deal with the Resurrect of Nuss on the Mercy. What they're looking for is to get initial kill with the spam damage, and then Fisher and Bishu will dive in and guard that body, take that body away, so that Nuss will not be able to get in the Resurrect. So that's what the LA Gladiators are going to be looking for, to kind of stay at a distance away from the Spitfire, rein in their damage, and get a numbers advantage with the kill. The Spitfires are in a pretty rough spot in terms of team composition. It's all up to Birdering to get a kill onto either Pharah or Mercy, and so with Pharah being pocketed by Mercy, it's unlikely he gets that kill, so really he just needs some really good shots onto Mercy. But Dose can get a Discord Orb onto Big Goose, Nuss is damage boosting McCree, and McCree gets some shots onto Mercy. That is the best case scenario. Mercy be taking plus 30% damage from the Discord, 30% more from McCree damage boost, and she only has 200 HP. So a McCree headshot with no damage fall off does 140. Now once you add all of this together, and she is in kill range, it's definitely a one-shot headshot kill. However, Big Goose is going to be doing his best to stay high in the sky, so McCree's damage fall-off kicks in to stop him from getting one shot, one kill. So let's see how this plays out. So let's look at the positioning from the London Spitfires. We see that McCree is standing right next to Mercy to guard her from any potential dive, and you have the tanks guarding their Zenyatta. Now, Prophet's kind of off on the side looking to do his own thing. Because the LA Gladiators are running two dive tanks, the Spitfire are kind of preparing for a dive in. If Fissure and Bishu go onto Nuss, Kree is there with the Flashbang, Bedosin is there with the Healing Orb and the Discord Orb, and Diva and Winston will be able to instantly turn and stop any sort of dive. So really, the Gladiators will not be able to dive onto Nuss. There's really no plausible way, and that's okay because that's not what they're going for. They are going for the spam damage like we mentioned before. Now if we look at Bishu, he is just scouting out this high ground area. As you can see here, his team wants to take this area away. This establishes some really long sight lines for his team to use their spam damage, just toss junk grenades, toss fair rockets, hoping to get that kill. Also, by controlling this area, they kind of have a pathway into the brewery, which is the high ground right here. If they can get Junkrat up here, he'll be able to rain these grenades down onto the backline of the Spitfires, making it a real hassle. The only people that can really contest this area are Winston and Diva, and you do not want to fight a Junkrat in a close quarters because he will get a ton of damage off. So really, this is a worst case scenario for the Spitfire, so they want to stop Junkrat getting into this space.
And Birdering just kind of farm off of hydration. As Timon called it, no one on the server has any fun.
So here we see Junkrat is using this long sightline to spam damage, which is exactly what we were expecting from this composition from the LA Gladiators. And as you see, the Spitfires instantly vacate this corridor, just staying on the cart, guarding it, saying, we are not going to let you get a free spam kill onto us. Now that trap there is to stop a potential Tracer flank from Prophet. If he comes up these stairs, Surefour doesn't want to be caught by surprise, which is why he's placing the trap. Surefour was trying to take that brewery area, but the tanks from the Spitfire are right there to stop that. We see Gesture dive in, and Diva is not far behind. Do not want Junkrat to get into that brewery area where he will have really good sightlines onto the Spitfire backline. So the first ultimate of the fight is Nuss with the Valkyrie. He wants to keep his team up. His whole team is very healthy. This is a 6v6 situation, but he wants his Valkyrie to be the difference maker in the 6v6 to make it a win for his team. So an early Valkyrie coming out of the Spitfires.
Halo there. It's going to be Valkyrie used from the London Spitfire here at the beginning. So Gladiators just trying to stay alive.
So right here, the London Spitfire need to catch someone out of position from the Gladiators in order to get a numbers advantage. So they catch Surefour in a rotation in this tight corridor and get the kill. Now, the question is, will they be able to guard this body, or else Big Goose is just going to res him? On the flip side, Bishu comes in with a really important kill here on to Prophet. Prophet was trying to play this mega health pack, try and farm the tanks, but really from this position, Tracer cannot do much when most of the enemy team of the Gladiators is on that high ground. Tracer's really not doing anything here. She's just kind of poking at them. She doesn't even have any angles for the pulse bomb. Now, what she could do, and probably what she was trying to do, what Prophet was trying to do, is go up the stairs here to the kind of the high ground area we see and blink across for a pulse bomb as the Gladiators are grouped up on that high ground. But Bishu took that away, pounced on her as she was weak, probably took a rocket from Farah somewhere, but it happened off screen. See there, we saw Nuss flew in to the mega health pack to get the res because the Gladiators are not guarding the body. At the same time, Big Goose off screen was able to res Surefour. So each team already taking the resurrects away because the respective teams were not able to guard their bodies. Now the Gladiators did have the numbers to guard this body and stop Prophet from being res. However, if they did that, they would not have gotten their own res off onto Surefour. So they decided, we'll just trade resurrects here. We need Surefour's damage very badly in order for our composition to work, and they were willing to let Prophet be resurrected. Shaz with the Transcendence. If we rewind, we will see that the tanks of the Gladiators were getting very low. Both of them are about half HP, so Shaz is going to use the Transcendence to keep his front line going. So we just heard the High Noon voice line play for Birdering. He is on the high ground here, which is where he wants to be for this High Noon to cover a lot of area. However, none of the Gladiators are really in his line of sight because they haven't yet rounded this corner and really committed to this fight. On top of that, Bishu is right in his face with Defense Matrix and boosters. As you watch, you see that Birdering's outline does get knocked off of the high ground, and this High Noon doesn't yield anything. Also in this shot, notice the position of the enemy Zenyatta, but Dosen is off by himself here in the alleyway. I'm not sure if the Gladiators see him, but this is going to be important. So either the Gladiators know he does not have Transcendence, or they know he is out of position, because we are about to see Hydration make a really amazing heads-up play because of everything that has happened so far. The Valkyrie is down. Transcendence is not available. High Noon is not available. Kree was knocked off of the high ground. Mercy just using Guardian Angel. All of these things will add up into Hydration's amazing barrage. So Hydration gets two really key kills there. So let's rewind and look at that one more time. Nuss had just used Guardian Angel, so his mobility ability is on cooldown. And since McCree was knocked off of the high ground by Bishu, he is not in range to flashbang Farah in her position. And we just saw that the enemy Zenyatta was off in the alleyway, so even if he did have Transcendence, he is not here. So Hydration seizes the opportunity and goes for a long-range barrage, which is not very recommended. However, in this case it works out, because the time it takes for the enemy diva to boost into his face to make him hurt himself is long enough that enough rockets get off to kill these two squishies grouped up. McCree, not a very mobile hero, and again, Mercy's mobility is on cooldown. The other thing is his ally diva is nearby to defend him from McCree shots with his own defense matrix. So an amazing play from Hydration here, kind of taking advantage of the Spitfire situation, and on top of that, teamwork coming out of his ally Bishu to protect him to make this happen. So, I want to keep track. We have seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ultimates so far. We have looked at this one, this one, this one, and this one. Now, let's look at Gesture's ultimate and Surefour's ultimate. So let's rewind. Right here, Surefour has his ultimate. He just got resurrected in the kill feed. Surefour uses his ultimate, and then we look over here at Gesture, who is at about 250 HP. Right here, he used his ultimate right as he took 600 damage. So Surefour was about to kill him off screen with the Riptire, and Gesture has an amazing Primal Rage to stop himself dying right here. Now, at this point, let's talk about numbers. The Spitfire just lost 2 key members, a DPS and their main healer. So 4 members up for the Spitfire and 3 ultimates used. Prophet did use a Pulse Bomb off screen, but it did not yield any damage. I checked the health bars of the Gladiators and the Pulse Bomb did not hurt anybody. So 4 ultimates used from the Spitfires so far. Now, looking at the Gladiators, they have used Riptire, Rocket Barrage, and Transcendence. So we have 4 ultimates from the Spitfires and 4 allies up, and we have 3 ultimates from the Gladiators and 5 allies up. So far this fight is going in Gladiators' favor. Less ultimates used, more members alive. While that was happening, Badosin is on the brink of dying, which forces out the Transcendence from the Spitfires. This actually works out in Badosin's favor because while he is saving himself here, he's also going to get a lot of healing onto both Gesture and Fury. This is extra important because their main healer, Mercy, is also dead. So this Transcendence from Badosin is amazing. He gets so much value out of it in this team fight. So now that the Transcendence from the Spitfires has been used, the Gladiators want to retreat, regroup, and push back in with their numbers advantage. Big Goose is getting close to his Valkyrie, which will give his team more damage and healing than the London Spitfire. Bishu gets D-Mech, so he uses the self-destruct in order to reset his mech. And finally, we see the Valkyrie come out of Big Goose. This is going to be providing a ton of healing and damage boost to the Gladiators as they fight a weakened Spitfire team. Again, 4 members alive for the Spitfires, 5 for the Gladiators, and no support ultimates left for either side.
It's so filthy, and it's working so beautifully for the Spitfire. This man is getting so much value, but now the Gladiator working so beautifully for the Spitfire. This man is getting so much value, but
now, because they have the healing and damage boosting of Valkyrie, the front line is just pushing straight into the Spitfires with absolutely no fear. Bishu, really smart play here, follows the Diva mech and makes sure she loses that mech. She doesn't provide a bunch of ult charge to the enemy supports, as well as stops her from potentially re-entering this fight. Now, because Bishu forces out Fury's mech, Fury is forced to use the self-destruct in order to get his mech back. Look at all the space the Gladiators have taken with this Valkyrie. Healing and the damage boost force the Spitfires back because they could not fight this battle. Now, Birdering, who just died on the McCree, comes back as the Widowmaker, and it's possible that the Gladiators did not see the switch because the fight has been happening this whole time. So Birdering catches Surefour by surprise and gets an early kill. At the same time, off screen, Surefour does finally finish off Gesture, who was most likely defending the cart. For the Spitfire, it's all-out contest mode. The chances of them retaking this cart are very small, but they can try to stall for time. So far, every single ultimate has been used in this team fight except for Fissure's Primal Rage. So 11 ultimates so far in this team fight. Since it has been so long since the initial kill onto Surefour, Big Goose has his Resurrect back. That means it's been at least 30 seconds since this fight started. So even though Birdering gets a really good kill onto a huge source of damage for the Gladiators, Big Goose gets the Resurrect in, turning this back into a numbers advantage for the Gladiators. At this point, the Spitfire are just trying to stall for time. The chances of them retaking this is very small. In this frame here, we can see Fissure's health bar right here. So Fissure does not want the Spitfire to contest. He doesn't even want to give them the chance. So he used his Primal Rage, which is the 12th ultimate to be used in this fight, and he dives deep into enemy territory to try and zone them all out. Only Zen, Lucio, and Tracer have made it back to the cart from the Spitfire, and so you have 3 members of the Spitfire fighting 5 members of the Gladiators. So a zoning ultimate here by Fissure to secure this second point. And in the face of the overwhelming damage and numbers of the Gladiators, they are able to take point 2. So a lot of this came down to the awareness of hydration on that Pharah. And that's the team fight analysis for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful and I hope you learned something. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Always looking for feedback. Also, if there are any fights you guys want to see from the next week of the Overwatch League, definitely leave them here as a comment. This episode of Team Fight Spotlight has been brought to you by Temple Storm. Again, my name is Canadian. Thank you so much for watching, and everybody have a good one.